Let people go in and remind people. Waiting for people to join. Hope we want to welcome everybody. We're just going to kind of sit here waiting for people to come join.
Good evening.
We'll do our introductions and all that fun stuff in just a couple of minutes. So enjoy us. I see us. I see us on our phone. We are live. Alright, let me... Maybe Russell can tell us a story.
I'm afraid my stories aren't for the open airwaves.
Well, you can do my little story. So I'm in a part of a self-development group, and I did a Facebook Live thinking it was going in that group, and no, it went public to everybody. So yeah.
Okay.
Sometimes you do Facebook Lives and don't know you're doing them.
How'd it go?
And the wrong people. It was great. People afterwards were like, "Oh, I'm so glad you did this," and I'm like, well, which was funny because the moment I realized I did it and posted it to my regular page, delete.
Oh.
My friend's like, "You should have just hidden it." And I'm like, I didn't think about that. It was pretty,
revealing or?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was a pretty honest,
I
crying and all sorts of stuff.
I suppose I didn't see it then.
But at least we tried, right?
Well, yeah.
So, yeah, well, it got another minute, so please come join us. Ray Russell eats one of my lovely lifesavers. I heard him crunching. It's a good sound.
If you have any questions, now'd be a good time to post them so we can see them and be prepared for what you might have to ask us this evening.
Yes. Come join us in just about 30 seconds. I'm just posting a reminder
Are mics hot? I think they are, right? Yeah, I can hear mine.
Smart Alex. All right, Russell.
Get all comfy in. Okay.
You are welcome.
Good evening, folks. And today we're going to discuss Chapter 5 of The Body Keeps Score. And this is a in-depth enough chapter that we're going to do it in 2 segments this evening and then again next Wednesday. So, Terry, should we talk about introducing first the body-brain connection?
Well, first we should apologize.
Oh, yeah.
Because we've been kind of gone for a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
So the first week I got really sick, ended up with bronchitis and everything. And then the next week, Russell ended up sick. And so with COVID and everything going around, we just literally struggled. And when I finally could get up and running, then we didn't have internet. And so you just weren't meant to see us for a couple of weeks, and I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
I am going to try to make a comment here just to see if I can make... Okay, we're good. All right, so I want to make that little apologize. We try to be on every Wednesday, and we're sorry. Sometimes sickness happens.
Yeah, we do apologize. Yeah, we're just, I certainly wasn't able to come in and wing it by myself.
Oh, look how important I am. Thank you, Russell. Other thing I want to cover real quick before we get into it is movement on groups. So I am working with my friend Michelle, and we are working to start doing that grief group.
Yes.
We're looking, cost-wise, is going to be probably about $30 a session.
That's an excellent, that's a great price. Yeah.
And that's actually less than what group rates are right now. Group rates are anywhere from $40 to $50. And so $30, it's about a 2-hour time period. It's $15 an hour. Yeah. We're probably going to have it about 10, 12 people, not huge.
I was going to ask you how large the group would be.
At max, it would be 15. It depends on the place, but anything more than 15, and you're just not going to have time. The other thing about group is you always have somebody who comes in who wants to talk and talk and talk and talk, and so that's what I'll be doing, is helping to not only facilitate but manage so that everybody gets a chance and everybody
manage the talking stick.
Yes. Yeah. It's also going to be interactive. There's going to be different things and tools and things like that based upon a grief group that I did, and then additionally based upon some trainings that I've done around grief.
Oh, good.
So there's going to be processing going on and also interactive things like that.
So it's mostly grief focused then, is that? Okay.
And
excellent.
we're looking at probably the 1st of March, end of February, but more than likely 1st of March.
Excellent.
The other thing is I am going to be doing a new training.
Oh.
It's called the ART training,
Mm-hmm.
and it's another different type of processing for trauma.
Excellent.
It's, as it was explained to me, it's like EMDR and crack.
Oh, wow.
So the response typically is about 3.8 sessions. So about 4 sessions, people are doing really great. Where with EMDR, average is about 12.
Oh, okay.
And so, yeah, I'm really excited to be moving forward with that. So we'll talk more about that.
Yeah,
the training for that is going to be, again, in March. And that's going to influence the group and things like that. But those are the things that are coming forward.
Good. Lots of good things coming down the pipeline.
Yes. So now that we've covered those little things. Oh, and we always want to say, please like, share, and I got to turn off my notification why I say this. Okay, sorry about that. So we want to say like, share. I actually changed my YouTube channel to Heart of Peace Counseling. As I was sitting back looking at everything, I really thought my Instagram, my Facebook page, everything's Heart of Peace Counseling, and I really should keep it
I think that's good.
as Heart of Peace Counseling. It's easier to find, and so if you're gone searching and you're like, I can't find Terri Talks Trauma and Therapy, it's Heart of Peace Counseling. If you have it saved, it'll still save, but everything is going to be under Heart of Peace, and yeah, just a lot of changes, a lot of good things moving forward, and we'll talk more about those as they come up and things like that.
Excellent. Sounds good. Yeah.
Okay, so back to letting you take over and be Mr. Co-host. What were you saying?
Well, let's talk about the body-brain connection here to get things going this evening.
Let me mute me.
Okay.
I am listening. And hi, Jennifer. I see your hi. Okay, so what was your question again?
The body-brain connection is how we act, speak, react, tell stories.
Yeah, that's the name of the chapter, was the body and the brain connection. And it's how we, what this means is that how our body talks, how we do things. Oh, I lost my sweater. We'll just kind of set that down there. So like, if we're talking right now, you see how I'm talking. You see these nonverbals, the interactions. That is how we tell a story. That's how your therapist, me, when somebody comes in to see me, I'm looking for all these nonverbals. I'm looking for the eye. I'm looking for how you sit. I'm looking for, are you fidgeting? And again, it can be signs of other things, but our body tells a story. Our body tells us where we're at. It tells us how animated we are. It tells us something. Our voice. Think about when you get really upset with somebody. What usually happens?
You raise your voice a little bit. You
get a little intense. Your heart rate goes up. Yeah, and it gets really hard because we don't realize that we're sitting here and we're talking, but we're also communicating. Remember what they say? I believe it's 90% of what, or 75. It's a high number of what we communicate. Nonverbal. Everything so much. Like I will sit here and people are like, "How do you know?" I'm like, your body talks. It really does. Hence the name of the book, The Body Keeps the Score. Really, this chapter is talking about how we act, how we talk, how we speak, how we move, how little things. I don't know if people can see me, but in my office when people are processing EMDR, their little feet will start moving sometimes, and I know that they're activated. I know that they're processing something. And when that slows down, the slowing, or when they get in a better stance. The other thing I'm watching for with EMDR is I'm watching their breathing, how fast they're breathing, because when they're processing, their breathing goes up because they're activated, right? That brain part of their brain is activated, and so that activation causes that breathing to be bigger. And so when I know that they're starting to do better, it's like they take deep breaths. The other thing I'm paying attention to is eye movements and things like that. I know when somebody's in a thought or in a thought process, and when they stop based upon blinks of eyes. I'm telling you all my secrets. And so this book really talked a lot about that. It really talked about that the emotions give shape and what we express. It gave the example of the wolf and dogs, how they're right? That growling. Does that say something? Do you want to go play with the doggy when it's growling?
No.
What does that say? When your dogs growl, because he's got 2 little pups, and I didn't bring Cotton this week, but when your dogs, what are their names?
Jake and Riley.
When Jake and Riley growl, what does that say?
that they're alerting us to something, or there's something they sense that they don't like that makes them nervous.
Yeah.
You know, something is in their environment that's foreign to them.
Yes. With Cotton, he does a lot of when he gets annoyed or doesn't want. He wants you to stop doing something. He was like, or you take his toy and he's like, don't take that. Don't give me that back. And so with Cotton, he does it when he wants a behavior to stop. And I want you to think about that. I want you to think about times when you've done something because you want action to stop.
Yeah.
Like I've done some crazy stuff, right? And at the root of some of that crazy stuff is me trying to get things to stop. Like I remember one time I was dating a man, found out that he had cheated on me. Ooh, I know, it's getting good, right? Yeah, oh, the story gets so much better.
Now my foot's moving because I'm interested.
Yeah, you got it. So I found out that he was cheating on me and seeing somebody else when I thought we were preparing to go towards marriage and all this, like, completely different things. And he was off on a date. And he had given me his Facebook password. I'd never used it. And something had just said, you should go check. And I did. And then lo and behold, I found out he was out on a date that night.
Oh, wow.
I was trying to figure out why he wasn't answering my phone calls. You know. I have never used the F word as much as I did with that night. And he'd even said in the process of talking, he's like, I'm so sorry. I'm trying to da-da. And he's like, you have never sworn. He goes, you. And I literally F-bombed like boom, boom, but I was pissed. It was trying to express something, right?
Yeah.
My anger was trying to get things. I was trying to get back in control of things by swearing and try. I was angry. I was trying to let him know. I was trying to like stop. Like you need to know I'm hurt. If I tell you this, you need to get that I am hurt and angry and for the right reasons, right?
Is that why we use words when we're angry and upset? Is because our brain can't think of the right word to use, so we automatically go to
an easy word.
An easy word.
A quick word. Yeah. Well, it's what words we're used to, too. Yes, for some people. For some people, no. It's just what their vocabulary is. But yes, when your brain is not locked in, it goes very premortal. Not premortal, but
primal?
Yeah, thank you. Very primal. It goes back to that, again, that noise and stuff like that, that basics. And so when you're at that point where your brain's not locking in, you're lucky to get any word.
Yeah.
And it reminds me of, you know, so many times I have trauma victims that come in and like they've been abused or something, and they're so mad at themselves because they couldn't get the word out.
Yeah.
To say stop, and they're like, I should have. I have a brain. I can talk. Why didn't I?
Yeah.
And we're going to talk about this. So this is what this book was about. And we're even going to talk about these lovely little charts that I got. And we're going to talk about that. And then I'm going to take pictures and post so people can see them.
Oh, excellent. Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
So, going back, so it's what we do through expression, right?
Yeah.
And before we get into this stuff, I want to cover the heart, the gut, and the brain, that they all communicate, right? So in the book, it talked about that gut wrenching, or it scared the crap out of me, right? That literally can happen because your body keeps things. When I was doing EMDR, my therapist was always amazed because I would puke.
Oh.
Because my body was processing, and the way to purge that processing and get it out, part of it was I literally needed to throw, my gut needed to purge. Because what happens in traumatic events is it's not just your brain, it's not just your heart, your gut is involved. And you think about those hard moments, right? I remember you talking about where you seen that crosswalk situation.
Oh, the little girl that died.
Yeah. Do you remember?
Yeah.
Your stomach and like think about that time when you've driven past a car accident.
Yeah.
And you're
kind of feel that nauseated feeling.
Yeah, or your stomach just drops, or when you've been in a relationship and things don't work, and that heart-wrenching pain, right? So we've all experienced this, and some of us started to experience this at a very young age when we didn't have words to describe it, and we've talked about that before, right?
Yeah.
Well, what happens when you hurt so much that you don't want to hurt anymore? What do we do?
Kind of close in, shut down.
Okay, what do other people do when they've hurt so much?
We do the fight, flight, freeze mechanisms.
Okay, what addictions and things go on because people are feeling hurting too much?
I think, and we've kind of talked about the addiction to trauma connection a little bit before, and we need to explore that more in the future. But I think there is a connection between trauma and substance abuse or
Yep.
or
Alcohol abuse.
alcohol abuse, and because
Any
it
kind,
knows,
even gambling, even pornography, all those
because
things.
it takes you somewhere where your current mind is not at.
It makes you feel better.
Makes you feel better.
Like, again,
it numbs
so
the senses. So
It numbs the senses, but let's be honest, pornography looks good.
Mm-hmm.
It makes you feel good, right?
Yeah.
And so if you want to not hurt anymore, you're going to go to something that doesn't hurt anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And so what we have a hard time understanding is we might get offended and hurt that somebody's an addict, but what we're missing is almost always there's trauma behind it.
Yeah.
There's trying to escape that hurt and pain and trying to not feel that gut wrenching, heart wrenching, brain wrenching. We don't want to feel that, and so we're trying to avoid that at all costs.
Yeah, and this is, I want to throw this at you. It's
Okay, throw.
planned.
You needed something to throw literally at me?
When I saw this on our notes about storytelling, you know, we run into people in our lives and we call them habitual liars or something.
Yes.
So is that making up a story? Is that a defense mechanism?
It can be.
Hiding a traumatic event?
Not always a traumatic thing. It can be just a defense thing to keep yourself safe.
Yeah.
Like, I know with my son. So my son has autism and ADHD, okay? Very common with them is to lie, right? Well, when we were talking about that and discovering and doing work with him, the lie was to save. He didn't want to get in trouble. He didn't want...
Yeah,
and so the lie is to try to protect, right? And that part of our brain that's going on, we're going to talk about these here in a moment, but our body is meant to try and protect ourselves.
Yeah.
It's meant to save us, and so these nervous systems are going off, and so some people can end up lying as essence of trying to be safe.
Okay, yeah, so kind of a defense mechanism to put them in a safe place for them.
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
Well, and again, even though it doesn't always,
yeah,
but the thought is it's going to keep me safe. Think about that, the times when something's gone on, you know you're in trouble.
Yeah.
You don't want to get in trouble, right? My kid didn't want to get in trouble. And he told me that, I don't want to get in trouble. And I'm like, but lying makes it worse now, doesn't it?
Yeah, because see, my experience is, you know, they'll tell a lie, and then now they've got to remember that became part of their life story, and they got to remember that. And to me, the more you lie, the more you kind of cover things up. I think it could be very stressful to keep all those in order.
Well, and it does. And that's oftentimes how we know that there's problems, is because your lies really do get out of order, and they're really hard to remember. But at the root of them is protection. You lie to protect.
Yeah.
So, yeah. One of the things that we're going to cover is the nervous system.
Nervous system, yeah.
So we got the autonomic nervous system, which is the what?
The body, brain.
No.
Okay.
The gas. So the autonomic is like, think of your gas pedal.
Oh, okay.
So what does it do?
Oh, it accelerates. It
accelerates.
Gets us out of the
yes,
situation.
it's the thing that is that fight. It is supposed to produce arousal. So fight or flight is arousal.
Arousal.
Right? Oh, yeah. Yes. Any arousal can be connected to that. So, yes. And then you have the parasympathetic nervous system, which is the... What else do you need in your car?
The brake?
Yes.
Let's hit that.
You got to hit the brake. And so that's the brakes. That's the thing that's going to help slow things down. That's the thing that's going to stop things. So you have two systems. One that's going to accelerate, one that's going to stop, which is part of the fight, flight, or...
freeze.
Yes.
Okay, so I was going to ask you, if we're in flight mode, do we have the senses to brake and to stop? Or is it just so out of control at that moment that we just don't know what we're doing?
Sometimes both.
Okay.
Usually because it happens before you can even get your brain connected.
Yeah, exactly.
It is set up to be a... So this happens, that autonomic happens, or that parasympathetic, it happens, and then your thought and brain click in later.
Yeah.
And so oftentimes you are not able to think. You're not able to do all those things. And so sometimes, but for the most part, no, sorry, brain's not showing up.
Yeah.
Which is why the book recommended talk about like deep breathing. One thing I've done with people who have had anxiety attacks or people who are really struggling in their trauma is get them to slow down.
Yeah.
Or get them to, we talked about this last time, we were talking about get initiation, like having mitts and things like that to get that part of their brain and their body connected back in, to get it lined back in, to get all these things, instead of being off wired, to get them wired back in, right? And so if you are unaware, and your parasympathetic part, that freeze part of your brain, is not connected, which means you're not there. You're right. Giving something like this, or that sound, or that touch, can snap a person back. Where on the other side, where you're fight or flight, getting them to slow it down. So basically what you want to do is, with the parasympathetic, where you break, you want to increase to get back to normal. With the with the autonomic nervous system, you want to slow it down. So breathing, this is that food, touch, things like that to try and initiate that, hey, let's get this brain to come back in.
So hypothetically, we're alone.
Okay.
It's 1 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning. It's 1 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning. We're prone to panic attacks, or we're working through some therapy when we're still going through this little bit of a panic attack portion of our lives. So what you're suggesting is, maybe in our arsenal, our nightstand, is we have some mints. We need to remember to breathe deep. We have some touch items. So are these good things to have in our arsenal, or
yeah,
our nightstand?
There's actually something online, and you can look it up and type in coping skills, and it has 9 different boxes, and it basically, the idea is that you can come away and have next to your bed a little container, and in that container are things from food to sound to touch, distractions, to crosswords, to like your favorite videos, like if you're really struggling watching something funny, right? If you're really in that something that panic attack, sometimes turning on a comedy can reset again, get you away from what you're in. And so I really like that, and I can post that link too. And it's called Coping Skills. If you type it in, and they're different color, and I believe it is 9 different boxes. It might be 6, and it covers all the different things. And basically, you come with this little container, and you can set it right next to your bed, and it's a great thing. Hence, it's kind of like this idea. Why I have the mints, why I've got the tactile, why I've got water, why I've got different things. I also have smells and things like that, is because it's that idea all here to help my clients.
Yeah, because I think our goal, at least in my mind, would be to get through the panic attack so we can get back to bed so we can function the next day. So I think it's good to have a little bit of an arsenal of things that can calm us, rather than sit there and fret about it all night and accomplish absolutely nothing by sitting there and stewing and fretting about
in
it.
truth, that's what you do. The more you think about the panic attack, the worse it gets. And another tool that you can use with that, again, in that little bin, is that's a great thought stopping technique, where you want to think about your senses. So in a room, I would do with a client, is say, what do you see? So right now, Russell, what do you see? But don't think about bananas while you're talking. Okay?
So I see a picture of the Little Mermaid, and it has several different scenes in it.
Okay. What else do you see? Keep going.
I see her with her prince, but also her father's in the background. There's a nice sunset with a rainbow, which is calming. And then you can kind of see the below the sea activity, and there's some of her little sea friends. And
okay. So how much did you think about bananas while you were doing that?
I didn't. Wow.
Lo and behold, guess what? It works.
It works. Yeah.
So one of my favorite is, and because I like the see, now you can do taste and things like that, but what you see, there's always things around us that we see.
Yeah.
And so it's the one that I most often do. And usually I say, give yourself 5 to 10 things of what you can see. And the idea is to get that thought and to get that stop and to get away from that, so you can get out of that panic attack. So when you're working with somebody who is panicking, you can tell them, what do you see? Tell me what you see. Like, okay, tell me, describe, and it can help. Again, you weren't thinking about bananas.
Yeah.
So yes. Okay, so now we want to talk about, and we're going to really cover some things here. So you get to see some sheets. So this is the Bagel chart. Okay? It's going to be kind of hard to see, and I'm going to explain it. I'm going to post this later. All right? I should actually kind of go that way.
There we go.
Okay, so in this, and I'm going to have you hold it while I kind of explain.
Yeah.
So,
and we realize you can't really see that.
And again, that's why I'm going to post it, but I'm going to explain. So you've got your social engagement. This is green, right? Think green light, which means...
Go.
Okay.
Proceed.
What does yellow mean?
Caution, stop.
Slow
Prepare
down.
to stop.
Not stop. We're
Yeah,
not ready
prepare to
yet. Don't
stop,
be
yeah.
jumping me.
Oh, well, in Utah means go faster.
It does. And then in the red,
Stop.
okay. So your system is going to go in this loop. But it's really important to notice that just like I loop up here, guess what? Do I stay up here?
No, and I don't think
You
you
are
want to.
always going to come down.
Yeah.
No, it is. Your body cannot maintain that.
Yeah.
You cannot stay in fight or fight for forever. It's impossible. Your body is not able. Even the military tries to train, and they can't stay in it.
You just can't do it. Yeah.
So your body's always going to come out of it. You're always going to come out of that anxiety attack. You are going to come out of it, and it's very important to remember that. But what happens is down here you've got connection, calmness, settled. Your mind's present, compassionate, openness. And then you go into frustration. And then after frustration is irritation. Then after irritation is anger.
Yeah.
After anger is rage. Okay, so that's your what side. What does rage lead you to do?
It's
what are you gonna want
to react or to act.
Yeah, so you're gonna want to fight, right?
Fight, yeah.
Okay, and on the other side, so the flight side, we got worry and concern, and then you got anxiety.
Yeah.
And what comes after anxiety? You got fear, and then after fear you have panic. And this is important. So when you've got a panic attack, you need to understand that you had worry and concern that didn't get taken care of, that was trying to say, hey, I got something to say, and you didn't listen. And then you didn't listen, so then you got some anxiety, okay? And then anxiety didn't get listened to, so then you get fear. That didn't get listened to, and so then you get panic. You get your panic attack.
Yeah.
They go line upon line. Now, sometimes you can jump really quickly. Well, you never jump. But it feels like you jump. Yeah. They happen so fastly.
So fast,
Okay? But then after this, and these all happen, so after you get to fight or flight, and then you get this red, which is helplessness, raise pain threshold, depression, numbness, disassociation, and what comes after that is freeze. Okay, so hold on, I gotta read. It says a collapse, inability, conservation of energy. Your body is freezing because it's trying to save you. It is trying to conserve energy because it took all your energy to get to where it was.
Is that why that depression kicks in? It kind of slows down a little bit?
Yes.
Because
yes.
Depression is a very...
it's there to try and save you.
I want to say docile state, but I don't know if I'm really using
well, no, but that's how people feel. It feels very... Ugh,
yeah.
Right? It's a very non-movement,
so
right?
feeling that depression can kind of help.
Yes.
Down in this
and so that's the idea behind it. So when you're in a depressive state, your body's trying to keep yourself and preserve.
Yeah.
It's trying to give you more energy so that you can survive, right? So then after freeze, your body kind of will, okay, and then it'll start to come down. So then comes the shame, the shutdown, hopelessness. So you had helplessness, and I might have said hopelessness first, but I said that wrong. So I want to correct that you have helplessness, but then as you come down, it's hopelessness.
So as we're coming down, is this where some of our addictive behavior kicks in? Like, I need a drink, I need a cigarette.
Yes, yes. So when people have addicts, you're going to begin to see as they're coming out them hitting this, because that's that shame, that's that shutdown, that's that hopelessness. It says preparation for death, trapped, right? Yeah. And so because of all that, they're well, I might as well go drink, right? Like, I'm going to die anyways, or I'm hopeless, might as well, like, give up, you know? So, again, that's when your dorsal vaga, the red is your dorsal vaga, your yellow is your sympathetic nervous system, right? And then your green is your ventral vaga system. So we have all these nervous systems that are going off, and they work together, but they work against each other and things like that. So then after you come down from feeling trapped, then you're going to have this, what's right here, what does that say?
Deactivation.
So deactivation, it's trying to shut things down. It's trying to get you to come back to this reset, right? And again, there's more things, and you'll be able to look at this online. Over here, it'll tell you what increases and decreases in your body in each of these things. So I was sure to share this with you. Okay, so we got that. I covered that really quickly, fastly, but there's more to that. Okay. So I want to cover this because I think it's really important, and I use this a lot, especially couples therapy. Window of tolerance, the polyvagal. We're going to talk about that a little more detail. We just kind of talked about it over there, but now we're going to really more detail here for a second. So you've got the polyvagal theory, which you've got this minimal green. Green means what again?
Proceed, accelerate.
Good, right? In a relationship, this is the optimal zone of arousal. This is like that perfect level to be in. This is perfection. Good things happen. In other words, your heart, your emotions, and your brain locked in. They're working good. They're working together. You're not going to be an a-hole in this usually, right?
And that's why they tell us to eat our greens, right?
Yes, to keep you in the green. Yeah. But the important thing is really, truly, you won't be a jerk when you're in this. We tend to be jerks. We tend to be assholes. We tend to be mean, crude, and all those other things when we get out of this optimal level. Yeah, every time.
And as nice as we are, all of us can go into these different
Everybody does. And that's when, again, our friend Jeremy has talked about you be careful what you can say because you can't always take back what you say.
Yeah.
And so it's always better to take a break, right, than it is to engage when you're not in that level of green because you can't take back everything you say.
No, that's why it's good if you're having a disagreement with someone. Is hey, let's take a break. Let's
take time out.
Get time out. Let's get our emotions back in check.
And it's important that you don't expect yourself to always be the person to call it.
Yeah.
To be in a relationship that's healthy, you can call it on the other person. Because how many times, Russell, have you noticed that you're in yellow or you're in red and you have no clue?
Yeah.
Right? But our partners often do. And so the partner, and again, it's important when you call it, you don't just say it.
Yeah.
You have to do something that's attention getting. Stop.
Yeah.
Right? You have to get them out of that reactionary state so you can call that timeout.
Yeah.
Bad thing. We've talked about this. Bad things happen when you're mad.
Yeah.
So we've got the state of hyperarousal, and I'm going to read this. So the sympathetic system activated. This is the acceleration of the autonomic nervous system response. This is your increased heart rate, blood pressure, blood flow to large muscles. This is where you get heightened sensations because you want to be able to react, right? You want to protect. So it gives you a heightened awareness. This is our fight or flight response activated. This state of hypervigilance, anxiety, perceptions of challenge or danger. It also is a disorganized cognitive processing. Think of rigidity or chaotic, right? Poor judgment, racing thoughts, obsessive thoughts and behaviors, intrusive emotions and images, right? Emotional reactivity and dread. So if you've got those going on, not a good thing. But the reason I love this chart is right here in bold it says, will you read that for me right there?
Let's see.
Very last thing in red.
No new learning can take place.
I'm sorry, what did you say?
No new learning can take place.
So what does that mean?
That you're not gonna.
You can't function. Your brain gone, honey.
It's gone, yeah.
No new learning can take place. So if you can't new learn, does that mean your brain's showing up?
No.
Huh. No. Now let's go down here to the state of hypo, right? So we had hyper, which is red. Now we have hypo, which is, so we talked about the gas. Now which one?
You're going to put the brakes on, I'm going to slow down.
Which is the parasympathetic, right? Yeah. So the parasympathetic activation is activated. It's the extreme deceleration of automatic nervous system's response. It's a decrease of heart rate, blood flow to the extremes. It's the absence, this is big, the absence of sensation. So you're not going to feel things. You are going to be numb. You heard people talk about that before? I'm numb.
I'm numb. Yeah,
I'm numb, right? This is the freeze response is activated. Slow to disabled thinking process. Disassociation of awareness. Isolation, withdrawal, depression, numbness, hopelessness, shutdown response, disabled defensive response. And again, will you read that last one for me?
In the blue?
Uh-huh.
No new learning can take place.
I'm sorry, what?
No new learning can take place.
So, does that say that our brains are locked in?
They're bye-bye. Yeah.
No, not only your brains, but on this one, instead of having overreactive emotions, you got nothing.
Yeah.
Like, have you ever talked to somebody and you're angry and they're just like, and you're like, are you an a-hole? Yeah. And really, they're just numb.
Yeah.
They're, again, understanding that they can't show up to have an argument because they're frozen.
Yeah.
Body's not responding.
Yeah.
Makes us mad, But again, no new learning can take place.
Is
You
that-
can't show up.
Yeah. Is that why maybe at our spouse's funeral, we were kind of like blank. We weren't, and we weren't really. I remember I was emotional because I was so busy
Doing. Being some consoled. Or
consoling other people.
Okay.
And is that what was happening to my
Could have been.
Yeah.
I wasn't there. I don't know.
Yeah,
It depends. If your body, you could have just been doing the motions, but to some level, I would say yes, you were disassociating. You were numb.
Or anyone that's a family member at the funeral and they're just trying to,
You're trying to get. Come on. How does this sound? What were you trying to do? Trying to survive.
Yeah, survive. Yeah, just get
right.
Through
Which goes back to fight, or freeze. At the root of those three, we are just trying to survive.
And so my point is, you can be present, but not there.
Yes, you can very much be there and not there at all. You can very much be living, breathing, talking, and yet lights aren't on.
She's not there.
Nothing's there. And it's really important to understand this because we can get so angry at somebody and not realize where they're at.
Yeah.
We can be in grief and again, I want to say everybody disassociates.
Yeah.
It is a tool to get us to be able to move, to get movement.
Yeah.
But it's when it becomes an always, an often, or primary coping skill that it gets dangerous.
Yeah.
Right? Again, everybody gets angry, but when it's an always, often, right? It's unhealthy.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got that. This one is a little more not intrusive, wrong word. It's a little more descriptive. So in this one, it's the autonomic nervous system, right? And what to look for. So this one, we've got the lethargic, which again is going to be that hyper or hypo?
Hypo, I'd say.
Yes, so this is that hypo, right? Yeah. And then you got active alert. This is normal. So you got calm and normal life right here, okay? And this is your apathetic, depressed, your arousal's low. I like this because it gives it a little more boom, boom, boom in the description. And so I'm going to post this. Again, energy is usually decreased. It's
well, our life ebbs and flows every day. So, whoops, it's hard to. Okay, so we should be in these sections kind of
right
daily,
here.
right?
Yes.
Because life ebbs and flows, and we may float back and forth a little bit. Some days we just don't. As I like to say, just didn't have the will today.
Yes. So going back, you're asking, so what do you do with somebody who is in this hypo state? And I love this chart because guess what? Right here.
Well, if they're always in this hypo depressive state, that's serious.
It is serious. But on this chart, the reason I like it is because right down here it says recommended intervention.
Yeah.
And the recommended intervention, it says activate. Gently. Didn't say just increase. It said gently increase energy.
Yeah.
Okay, so I love this chart better than those other ones because this one is going to tell us how do we help with this, right?
Yeah.
So then we've got calm and active alert. These are normal, right? So we got low to moderate. This one's safe, clear thinking. This is the green where we want to be. This is kind of what I call just before yellow.
Yeah.
But it's still a healthy place, right? And so this is where your arousal level is moderate and things are going on. But down here it says continue therapy direction, continue therapy direction. This is where you can act. You're able to do, right? And we get over here to hyper, to fight or flight, hyper, and hypo freeze. Now, in the other side to this, so this happens lethargic. We often, and I just said it was part of the freeze. But this is when it's gone too long, too far.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's what you were talking about. So I want to specify that, yes, this is happening, but this is when this can happen too long, too far, right?
Yeah.
So kind of think of it like a circle. Right? Okay, so you've got your fight or flight, which is react to danger. You are in arousal is high. And down here it says put on brakes. You want to stop. You need to slow things down, right? So you're hyper, right? Right here.
Yeah.
This is that await opportunity to escape, extreme overload. This one, I love it. It says, not just put on the brakes. It says, read that.
Let's see.
Red.
Slam on the brakes.
So you want to boom on those brakes. You really want to stop, and you want to stop quickly.
Yeah.
Okay? It's not something we toy around with and think about, right?
Yeah.
We want to slam on those brakes. And then hypo, right? So this is that prepare for death, excessive overwhelmed, right? So going back, the hyper is we're trying to escape.
Yeah.
Hypo is we're preparing for death. That is another key feature why I'm showing this, okay? So down here, what do we want to do? Medical emergency, call paramedics. When people are in this hypo state, you need intervention.
Yeah.
You need, again, I earlier said you want to try to activate it, but most oftentimes people can't, and you need to get. Because they think they're already in death. This is a danger zone. So this is why I like this chart different than those. This is more descriptive, this is what you do. This is your, and that's why it's a darker red. This is your oh shit zone.
Yeah, and this is why sometimes even as a spouse to someone, it's hard for us to have to pull no brakes because it's just happening so fast.
Yes. How many times have somebody you've known been suicidal, or somebody you've known struggling and just not doing good, or they're drinking too much and everything? And it's so hard because we think that it's our job to stop it, but in truth, our job, 911.
Yeah. Can I use the word manic in this area? Okay.
Some people, especially they get in that state, it is a very manic. Their brain, again, their brain's not connected. And for somebody who has once tried to commit suicide, I was 8, didn't know what I was doing, but I wanted my hurt to end.
Yeah.
Had people known, they would have needed to get me medical, and I probably should have been in the hospital for a few days.
Is it hard for people in this state to communicate their emotional pain?
Some. Oftentimes. You don't want to talk about it. You want to avoid it. And usually when you get to this point, you've tried so many times that you don't feel heard that you just give up trying.
Okay.
Like you're so done, you just, in truth, you're not logically, you're just not there.
And that's what I was going to ask. Do I know I'm here, or does it take some
When I was there, all I want, I couldn't think. I didn't think about was it going to hurt my family. I didn't think about what it was going to do or how it was going to do things. I just wanted my pain to stop. So I was going to take some pills and make my pain stop. Right?
Yeah.
And so this is why they say call emergency. It's because bad things happen when we get in hypo.
Yeah.
Bad things can happen in hyper, but bad things really happen in hypo. Okay. And again, these are things of what it talks about, what to look for. It talks about what your skin looks like. It says down here under what are your emotions, contact with self and others, frontal cortex. Like this I love this because it gives more description. Yeah. This is something I would recommend when you are dealing with somebody who's struggling, somebody who's been suicidal, or somebody who is drinking and things like this. This is a great chart to go to. Yeah. Great chart to know and understand and act. People say, how dare you, if you love me, you won't call. Bull crap. Call 911. Act. Throw me under the bus and say, Terry told me. And again, oftentimes that is the most comforting thing for people is knowing that they acted when they could. And what's hard for them is knowing that they couldn't act. Right?
Well,
when
I've seen,
you find about after.
I've seen people in this area.
I've seen them in all.
And and once you say, I can help you, it's a relief just hearing that, I think.
Oftentimes, but sometimes, again, if your brain's not in it and your emotion, if you're so think about this. Again, this hyper, you're disassociation. You are not feeling, you got no emotions. So you saying something, I'm not going to hear it. I'm not going to hear it. So you saying, I'm here to help, you got to get me, like, somebody's got to get me.
Acting, you
and
act
oftentimes, we think we are the person who can do it, but we don't have the training. And I wouldn't want to mess with this. And I am trained. And I know to call 911. I know, not even the best attempt. No. They're not in a place where it's going to work, and you need to call. And again, it's hard, but at the very top of this is also said what to look for. So we're a little past time. I told you there's a lot to cover. So what I'll do is I will post those pictures, and I will post the PDFs and everything like that. If for some reason you can't see them or you don't find them, again, always message me, heartofpeacecounseling@gmail.com. As we said before, like, share, all those things.
Like, share, comment. Again, like, share, comment. It's, and then if you don't want to ask a question on this public forum, you can always
private message me.
Private message Terri.
Yes, and for next week, we're going to cover the second part of this, which is talking about connection and the importance of connection and how it plays in and how important it is to be. We're going to cover a little bit of what's called emotional focus therapy too.
Excellent.
We're going to bring that in a little bit, talking about why connection is so important. So we've talked about the body, we've talked about the brain. So next week we get brain connection, body connection. And we're going to really be discussing that. So,
connection.
and Russell. So, we look forward to seeing you next Wednesday. Thank you for coming and joining us. Anything else, Russell?
Have the rest of a great week. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Let's hope I can figure out how to turn this off for a moment.